Okay, good morning. Every year that April and May months begin three major things. One is new year start for the pharmaceutical company, majority of domestic and some multinational pharma companies. Second one is the Golden Jubilee celebrations, and third is the LPC first anniversary. We have completed the 51st sessions of LPC, and next month completing 1 year of LPC. So great learning and sharing Sunday morning to all my Facebook and YouTube live audience and the viewer. As we know that the Sunday morning, 11 o'clock, that is 11 a.m., is the fixed day and time for the live pharma coalitions online experience sharing sessions by the renowned personality from the Indian the companies on the LPC Facebook page and YouTube channel. Uh, the This and the next month, that is April and May 2021, LPC sessions brings you your three celebrations. One is new financial year, that is 2021 celebration. Number one, April month is new financial year start for the most of the Indian and the global pharmaceutical and healthcare companies. Number two is LPC Golden Jubilee celebrations. That is the LPC 58th session celebration that we did it in this month in the first week itself. LPC first anniversary celebration, that is LPC first year completion of the third week of May 2021. And here I will like to share my screen and welcome all the LPC Facebook page and YouTube channel live audience viewers on India's largest online platform, that is a live pharma coalition. Live Pharma Coalition, as I said, it's India's largest online platform. Currently, we do have it. The objective of LPC with a vision and the vision statement that we kept it in the minds that this all the views it's expressed by our the experts and the knowledge of the pharma professionals. This is a non-commercial online discussion platform. Nothing to do it with any organization or with the confidential informations of that respective the organization. Uh, our audience and the viewer will get the pharma experience learning. Then the development of the speakers and the audience as well as the viewers that happens through this platform. Here we do have a collaborations with the various the departments, the international and the domestic business, sales and marketing, including the digital marketing team, research and development, our R&D team, academic learning and development, that is L&D team, manufacturing, that quality control and quality assurance, QCQA, supply chain, finance, and the human research, that is the HRA. From this financial year onwards, we have bifurcated this every week as per like the different category of the week. Week one is dedicated for the for leadership team, where the pharma management team they comes and they share their the experience with our audience. Majority of them they will be from the pharma sales and marketing. Week two is dedicatedly for the LPC global platform, that is international. The the pharma marketing people or leadership team they comes and they share their the viewers. Similar way, week three is for the young leadership marketing and sales team. They come and they share their views. And week four is dedicatedly for the academic. That is the academic pharma professional. They comes and they share their views for our students as well as the new upcoming people from the BPharm colleges as well as the some MBA colleges. And week four, if it comes in any month, that dedicatedly we have kept it the week four for the woman leadership, wherever the women leaders from the pharma industry they comes and they share their the experience and the views to our audience and the speaker. Now coming to the numbers of the LPC platform, as I said, LPC Live Pharma Coalition is the India's number one the platform knowledge sharing platform. Currently, we do have it here. The reach of the month it reaches to 20 to 30,000 plus LPC Facebook video that reaches to people. Then currently we have 115 plus LPC speaker, moderator, and panelist in our the WhatsApp group. Then the live audience of the viewers, each sessions that we get it 50 to 70 and an average plus as a live audience from the both Facebook page as well as the YouTube channel. Now, Pharma online discussions onto the both page. It goes simultaneously on Facebook page of LPC and YouTube channel of the LPC. Currently, we do have 200 the 1,258 people, those who has like or the LPC Facebook page, and 1,980 people they follow the page continuously, consistently. 851 subscriber we do have it for the YouTube channel, and 51 videos plus that currently it's there into the both the platforms. Thanks to the LPC 51, our the audience and the viewers, those who has part of the last LPC on the Facebook page, those who has like followed and seen that video and the sessions live, YouTube channels, those who have subscribed it, as well as the those who uh, watch us offline, online on the both the channels, and goes to reach on the highest, that is the 5,000 to the 10,000 for each video in a month span it goes. So keep watching us onto the Facebook page, keep the liking it, and follow our the LPC page. Kindly do the subscriptions onto a YouTube channel. Now coming to the LPC 52, this is today's the sections. Here we do have today the academic leadership team with us. We have three speakers today. Along with me, there will be two speakers, Dr. Prashant Karkare. He's well-known personality into the pharma academic professions. Along with him, there will be second speaker, the Dr. Swapnil Gorpade. He will be like the covering a very interesting topic, both of them. The first topic will be research grants, and the second topic will be the significance of the IPR in the growth of the pharma industry, that is Indian perspective, by keeping that point in the mind. Then the third, I will cover the again the 360 dimension of all the three topics on the three various ways. Pharmaceutical marketing and the sales, a big scope in the pharma industry currently we do have it. Once we look at the manpower, once we look at the opportunities, when we look at the equipment. Now coming to the two more personality that we do have it along with us, that is none other than our the renowned panelists, those who takes care of the LPC for the fourth week sessions academic. That is Dr. Atish Mundara, along with the Professor Pramod Brukle. Unfortunately, he won't be able to join it. Dr. Atish Mundara, he is associated professor at the SNJBS SSDG College of the Pharmacy, and Pramod Brukle, he is an associate professor at the Dr. GR College of the Pharmacy. Along with him, as a moderator, we do have two people. Unfortunately, Shashikant, he won't be able to join it today. He's associate professor at the SVKMS NMIMS, and Dr. Pankaj Karabe. He is the first moderator. He will be moderating along with the Atish as a panelist. He is a director of currently the Ultra Chrome Innovative Limited. Now here I would like to hand over it to sessions to the panelist and the moderator to take it ahead to Atish and Pankaj, both of you. Over to you.
Good morning, everyone, and wishing everyone a very happy Mahavir Jayanti. Jai Jinendra. I'm really happy to welcome all my viewers and audience across YouTube as well as Facebook to this LPC 52. And I'm pleased to inform everyone that we have three stalwarts today who are going to express their views and share their knowledge with all our audience. We have first speaker, we have Dr. Prashant Karkare, who is professor at prestigious institute, that is Institute of Chemical Technology, Mumbai. He is going to deliberate his talk on research grants. The second speaker of the day is Mr. Swapnil Ghorpade, who is a budding entrepreneur and working as a director of one consultancy firm which takes care of various intellectual property rights into Mumbai. And third speaker of the day is my friend and my batchmate, Mr. Raman Marke, who is working as Vice President Sales and Marketing into Entor Pharmaceuticals. And along with me, Dr. Pankaj Karabe is there as a moderator cum panelist with all of us. And I hope it will be really a knowledge feast of Sunday by all these three stalwarts. I will be happy to get a glimpse of the presentation or views from all these three speakers. Over to Dr. Prashant Karkare. You just tell us what will be there into your presentation in an essence form.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Today I'll be talking about research grants, and of course, the heart of the research grant is the research proposal, which is the first step. And I'll be giving you tips and tricks of the trade, as in what it takes to write a good research proposal and how, what all things you should be taking care of the different sections of a research proposal, irrespective of the funding agency. That's what I'm going to enlighten you with. Thank you so much.
Over to you, Swapnil, sir.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Thank you so much, Atish sir, for introducing me, and I'm very glad to be a part of Live Pharma Coalition 52. So, going ahead, I will be speaking more on the importance of intellectual property rights and how it has helped and how it is developed going ahead in the development of the Indian pharmaceutical industry specifically. So, we'll be discussing that into more details. Thank you, Atish sir.
Thank you, sir. Over to you, Raman.
Yeah, thank you so much, Atish, for the very kind introduction of all of us. As introduced by Atish to me, my name is Raman Make, working with the Entert Pharmaceutical as a Vice President Marketing. My today's topic is pharmaceutical marketing and sales, a big scope in pharma industry. In this topic, I'm going to cover what will be the predicted scope for the students and new upcoming pharmaceuticals graduate in the pharmaceutical marketing and the sales. Three areas, that is marketing, sales, and the other areas of the various opportunity. Firstly, the marketing has a highest linking, coordination, and the control of the various department teams, whether it's a sales, production, quality control, quality assurance, R&D, finance, HR, supply chain, project management, or its own sub-departments team, like the strategy team, advertising team, market research, PR, digital, training, learning and development team. Sales team role has increased nowadays beyond the sales, product, and the controlling monitoring of the team. It has like the increase to implementation of the effective communications, the content of the products, digital platform utilizations, IPR, planning regional strategies for their own territories, areas, region, and the zone. Other areas of opportunity for non-pharma too will be covered in this. Thanks. We will move on to first talk.
Thank you, Raman. Dear listeners, now let me introduce first speaker of the day, Dr. Prashant Kharkar. I'm really pleased to welcome Dr. Prashant Kharkar on our virtual platform of Live Pharma Coalition. This is our 52nd episode. And in fourth week of LPC, we focus on academics. We are really happy to welcome you, sir. And let me tell all my viewers that Prashant and me, we were colleagues for 1 year in Bharati Vidyapit College of Pharmacy during 2004-2005. Then I went on doing my PhD to Nagpur University, and he joined Nicholas Pharma. He worked with two different pharma industries before joining as a postdoc fellow in a reputed university in USA. After returning from USA, he again worked with Nicholas Piramal Healthcare Group for few years, and after that he joined with NMIMS Mumbai campus as associate professor, went on to become HOD and professor of pharmaceutical chemistry and quality assurance in NMIMS Mumbai campus. Dr. Prashant Kharkar is a very learned fellow, and let me tell you, he is All India rank 1 in a GATE examination which is being conducted for postgraduate admission in India. He has faced more than 4.5 crores of grants for his various research projects. He is working as a member of patent committee. He has various patents to his credit, and he has a vast experience of working into computational chemistry and drug discovery and development. So we have a right person to deliver a talk on how to fetch research grants and what things one should take care of while preparing a research proposal to be submitted to various funding agencies in India and abroad. Over to you, Dr. Prashant Kharkar, sir.
Thank you so much, Atish, for a kind introduction. I'll share my screen. Okay, is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Make it a presentation mode.
Yeah, yes. All
Yes.
right. Very good morning, all the viewers and audience. I'm very happy to be here. In fact, Atish requested me last month, but then somehow I was busy with the teaching and other things. So, but then since I promised him that I would do it in the last week of April, the 4th week, and that's how we are here. So today I'll be talking about research grants. Like Atish mentioned, till now I have around 4.5 crores of funding. Another 2-3 crores will be there in next few in a month's time or so. But then when I talk about research grants, so with every research proposal which we write, the probability of funding is probably what like 20% or so. So 10 to 20%. So every research proposal that gets funded, behind that you have at least 5 to 10 research proposals which have been rejected. In fact, in last 1 year during pandemic, when the COVID-19 started, I wrote around 19 proposals, out of which 3 got funded, and they are like real high value proposals, or rather high value grants, and that's how I think I'm I can talk, I can share my experience, as in there is no universal solution to this thing or universal suggestions, but in general, I'll just share my experience, and you can mix and match with your experience, your expertise, the kind of grant, your research area, and then use these generic principles to come up with successful research proposals. So the topic is research grant. Definitely, I'll be talking about how to write research proposals and get successful or convert them into successful research grants. So acknowledgements. First of all, the organizers of this guest lecture, Live Pharma Coalition, and hearty congratulations on completing 1 year. I think this is a great initiative for the society, for the budding pharmacists, as well as those who are at different stages of their career in the pharmaceutical field. And we all know the importance of pharmacists and the kind of situation we are in. So we are indispensable for that matter, and that's where for the profession, it's our duty to do anything and everything to help everyone to move ahead in their life, personal life, as well as career. And that's exactly what Live Pharma Coalition is doing, and I'm very proud to be here, contributing to their cause. Okay, so whatever I'm going to talk in this particular topic, I haven't really taken anything from Google. So you will not find a similar stuff on Google because these are all my personal experiences. I mean, I'm not going to talk anything out of the world, but since I told you it's my personal experience, so the views, ideas, and opinions which are expressed in this webinar or guest lecture is solely of mine. Like I said, none of it is taken from Google, and resemblance to any content available is purely coincidental. One has to be intelligent, if not cautious, while interpreting and implementing the tips and tricks for one's use. And this is exactly what I want to highlight. These are my personal experiences, and I'm sure you will have your own, and then you will learn from these if at all you're looking forward to writing a good research proposal which gets funded, right? So then so one has to find the answers to the difficult questions because you and me all have access to the same internet. So if you look for something, you will get similar hits. Google will give you the similar hits. I will have access to the similar content. But then my focus in today's lecture is going to be on the mindset. And to find the answers to the really difficult questions, because as teachers, we are expected to write research proposals. We are expected to get funding because nowadays all the rankings are governed by funding, and this is where some of us would be doing out of interest. Some of us would be forced to do it, maybe because of some professional development related thing, promotion, or maybe what the college management is telling you. But then, like I said, the mindset is very important because you may do things because you are forced to do, but unless you have the right mindset, don't expect your proposals to get funded, because it is so competitive, and unless you have some real passionate idea, groundbreaking idea, it's at times difficult. But I mean, people get funded. It has nothing to do. I mean, it has something to do with the idea, definitely, but then there are a lot of other factors which also matter, which eventually will decide the fate of the research proposal, right? So ethics and integrity are integral part of research, and that's where I will be referring you to a few of these things in between the presentation. So the first difficult question, probably the most difficult question: why do I intend to write a research proposal? Why do I have to write a research proposal? Because, like I said again, the answers to this could be many, right? So I wish to change fundamental beliefs in science. So this is what a passionate researcher is talking. It's the scientific rigor is one of the reasons. Then there is an unmet medical need, say for COVID-19. Now there is this is a situational reason, meaning some disease have sprung, and then we want to find some solution to that, some medicine to that, and because of which I would want to I would want to write a research proposal, which if gets funded will then allow me to do what I am looking forward to, that is meeting the unmet medical need. Then I need money for research so that I establish myself in a focused research area. So financial reasons. Obviously, you need money, a lot of money for good research, and without which you can't really establish yourself as a researcher. I mean, a lot of people claim to be researchers, but then very few of them indeed are researchers. But leave aside those reasons. I mean, you can't really fake any other reason. I mean, you need money, right? Without money, it's difficult. And of course, for professional development, I need a promotion. So your college management may say that unless you've got at least one research grant of say 25 lakhs or so, you will not be promoted to the next level. So then I'm forced to write, or rather I'm pushed to write the research proposal. And in fact, if you are in US and if you are hired at some university after your postdoc or something, most of the times the condition is that within first 6 years, unless you get the R01 grant, which is a multi-million-dollar grant, you will not be continuing in that department. So they'll kick you out no matter how brilliant you are. You may be the next Nobel laureate, but unless you get the grant, they'll kick you out, right? So professional development is definitely there. And of course, my institution's overall recognition. Of course, if I have funding, if many researchers from institute have funding, so probably there will be good publications, good patents, good consultancy, and all other things. And my institution's overall recognition in terms of rankings is improved, and that's what the college management would expect from you, right? So job expectation apart from your professional development. So these are just few of the answers, probable answers. There could be many more, but then we would rather focus on the way out. So what is the problem I'm likely to solve or address with my research proposal? Now, this is another very difficult and very important question. What is it that I'm going to work on, and what is it that my research work is going to solve that particular problem? In fact, I wrote one proposal, or I was part of a proposal by one researchers in Chandwad College, Science College, Dr. Valmik. So I think there is some disease which the tomato crop, some viral disease which the tomato crop essentially gets succumbed to. So he wrote a very relevant research proposal, and that was addressing that was to I think Savitribai Phule Pune University. But I was very happy when he asked me to be part of that proposal, and it was something really good. So that was a very relevant problem, although in the local vicinity that problem was there. But then, so this is very important. What is the problem that your research is going to solve? Very important question, right? So again, there would be more related questions to this. Is my research going to address a common man's problems? Nowadays, the funding agencies are looking forward to this societal benefits. How is your research beneficial to the society? If your research may be very hi-fi research, but if it is not able to solve common man's problem, then probably the funding agency is not interested, at least for most of the grants. Another important thing is it doable in a reasonable time frame? Meaning you have a very bright idea for solving a particular problem, maybe a common man's problem, but then is it doable in a reasonable time frame? Because when you talk about funding, many of the funding agencies, they will have limited duration, 18 months, 2 years, 3 years. Very few are like 4 years, or very rarely it is 5 years, right? So time factor is very important, and that's another important consideration. Another thing which funding agencies look forward to, and in fact government also is promoting, and this has always been the focus: will it train a student? Will it create a trained manpower which will nurture the interest in science, right, amidst the downfall of interest in the basic sciences? So will it train a student, say for his or her PhD? Because most of the funding agencies, this is going to be the common question, very important question, which is related to human resource development. So unless the funding agency gives funding, there won't be PhD students who would come and work for PhD, right? At least from the lower strata of the society. And many times these students are absolutely very, very bright. It's just they need an opportunity, irrespective of whether they are able to speak good English or not. Okay, so human resource development is very important thing. Will it build infrastructural capability at my institution? Again, this is very at the very heart of this whole research problem, wherein unless you have good facilities, say some measurement instrumental methods of analysis or other things which will make the research happen, that particular experiment happen, right? So that's what building infrastructural capability is another very important focus of the funding agency. Because if these facilities are available at a central place to the nearby institutions, then believe me, that's how these smaller institutes will be able to carry out some real good research. Will it advance science? This is again the fundamental question of doing research, knowledge building. You can keep on exploring things which is kind of run of the mill, meaning you have a technology, you change the drug, but then it's not really advancing anything. Meaning run of the mill projects. So will it advance science? Will it tell us something more more than what we already know? This is another important consideration. Next thing, now this is where I'm going to share my tips and tricks. How do you plan to carry out the proposed research? Like, you have answered those two very fundamental basic questions, very relevant and difficult questions. Now the thing is, how do you plan to carry out your proposed research? And this is where, again, there are a lot of answers to these questions. Now I'm asking these questions because human beings, being humans, we don't really like to be questioned. I mean, that's basic behavioral pattern. We don't like we being questioned, and unless we are questioned, we probably will not have answers to the more relevant things that we do, right? So what do you plan, like how do you plan to bring your research to fruition? So involvement of interested properties. So are you going to do your research alone, or are you going to do it in collaboration with others? So that's what the alone or collaborative, that's very important aspect. Then geography of the problem, whether the problem is local, national, or global level. So if you talk about COVID-19, it is the global problem. The one which I told you about what Valmik wrote, that was local problem. There could be other problems which are national problems, right? Say something like Kala Azar, or some parasitic diseases which are not really happening in developed nations. So that could be a national problem. So geography of the problem, nature of the problem, whether it is simple, intermediate, or complex problem. So that's another, because depending on the nature of the problem, the modalities to research will be a little difficult, and difficult in the sense will be we will differ, and that's where we will be in a way talking about it, right? So just a minute, okay. Then the next one is a scale of the problem, whether it's a small problem or a big problem. Then time frame in which the solutions are desired. Now, if you're talking about COVID-19, we want drug, right? So that's where people started working with drug repositioning. There are companies which have come up with phase 1 molecules, like Pfizer has revealed its phase 1 molecule. In fact, I'm also very happy to say here or mention here that Along with Godavari Biorefineries Limited, we have also come up with a very promising molecule for COVID-19, and it has shown extremely good efficacy in hamsters, that is in vivo models, in vivo model of SARS-CoV-2 infection, and soon we will be filing an investigational new drug application to the Indian FDA, and very soon you will hear about it in the newspaper as well as in the scientific journals, right? So the time frame now, the world needs drugs, and that's what after COVID is over, if you come up with the drug, it's of no use mostly, right? So level of funding desired, so again, depending on what you are likely to do, whether it's a startup funding, meaning a young scientist, or a mid-level or a high-level funding. In fact, at ICT, we have been part of various institutional grants. Very recently, we have got one very prestigious grant from DST. The name of the grant is PERS. It's around 26 crores. And this is for addressing the dependence of dependence on China about various drug intermediates, right? So we are going to develop indigenous technologies for these solutions. We have also applied for Mumbai Biocluster research proposal to DBT, and that is around 250 crores. ICT is the leading institution, and the TIFR, IIT Bombay, NIRH, ACTREC, and then there are many other hospitals like Tata Memorial. So they are part of it, right? So depending on the problem, depending on the nature, you can have the level of funding, very, very high to a startup grant, right? Where do I look for potential funding? So obviously, like I said, everyone has access to the same Google. So government funding agencies, if you visit their website, you will continuously see the calls, and then there are websites like biotechnica.org, which will give you whenever there is a new funding opportunity available, you will get the alert in the email. Then international funding agencies, there are many programs of DST, DBT, which allow coalition with the international funding agencies, and we can write projects together, and many times these projects are really high value, like few $1 million projects. Then universities or host institutions, so this is like mostly the startup grants, maybe 1 lakh, 2.5 lakh. Pune University has something like this. Mumbai University has it. Almost every university as well as host institute has it. Then industry, small, medium size, startup or big, depending on the kind of expertise and the facility you are available. Many industries would be interested in collaborating with you and getting you the projects which eventually you will work on and solve the problems. Then private organizations, such as hospitals or NGOs, they may have relevant fundings. Many times it is for the societal problems. A hospital probably is looking for nowadays, if you can, come up with oxygen plant. I mean, these things will definitely, somebody must be working on this, how to produce oxygen in least possible capital expenditure, right? And then the passionate and rich individuals, there are like Bill Gates, there are many philanthropic organizations who would be interested in funding for something, and then advanced science, right? So the moment you have answers for many of these things, and you've done your background work, and you think you are ready, then definitely you should be jumping onto what you want to do. So like I said, currently the need is to have to come up with some solution to COVID-19 pandemic. There is lack of effective therapeutics. You can there is an opportunity situational, right? So a diagnostic agent, anything and everything, even preventive measures. There are so many schemes now. Government has all the funding agencies have focused onto COVID-19. So if you apply for some other non-COVID-19 area, they probably will not fund it because everything is now diverted to COVID-19, right? So there were many fast track calls, expedited proposal reviews, and amazing scale of funding, and very large number of schemes. Availability of free resources, including software. So many companies, they dedicated for 6 months their softwares, literature for helping researchers to find solutions in record-breaking time frame. So these are all necessary things so that the treatment option comes out very fast, and that's exactly how the vaccines which were developed were in record time. There are many vaccine candidates in various phases of development. Maybe they'll see the light of the day. right? And then of course, because there is an urgency, the submission deadlines are also very closely spaced, meaning they will have the call today and in next 10 days they'll say submit it. So then it becomes very, very difficult at times. So that's where I'll start with my pre-submission tips and tricks. Many of the things you are already aware of, but then I'll just share my experiences, my own dabbling in this area right from the time I joined the industry, as well as, well, I would say academics back in 2012. Right. So the first tip is first tip, that is tip one, be very thorough about the utility of the proposed research. Don't fake the utility or falsely create it. I mean, the people who are reviewing your grant, they are experts, not necessarily that they will understand what you would want to say. In terms of your passion for research and your commitment to the proposed research problem, but you really have to be, whatever you are proposing, be very thorough about it, as in don't bluff, don't make overstatements or understatements, just be enough thing, so that's exactly what I'm trying to tell you. Be very thorough about the utility of the proposed research. So the trick one related to tip one is back up with latest literature reports from reputed journals or other sources. Now, at least for COVID-19, you will see there are so many preprint servers which have come up, and then the before the article is published, this is available to you. So you have to back up with whatever you are proposing with latest literature reports. I mean, those who are reviewing your grants, they are probably working in that area, and they are experts. They know much more than you. So unless and they might be the ones who have published in that area or who are working in that area, and if you don't cite their work, believe me, it's going to be a problem. Then provide relevant statistics, how it is important to address this particular problem. So some numbers, because everybody wants to see some numbers, because numbers make us comfortable, right? Usually from national governmental agencies or national funding agents, for national funding agencies. And if you're looking for, I mean, if you're applying for a research and if you're giving statistics of US, so that's probably not relevant, because at times the disease may not be relevant to us, or it may be relevant to somebody, some other nation. So stick to the nation. If you are applying to national funding agencies, this is what I am saying. Do not give US government data for breast cancer patients while writing a proposal in response to a breast cancer therapeutics call from Indian funding agency. The next one is for an example, emerging viral infections such as SARS, MERS, COVID-19, and the resultant pandemic have debilitating and decapitating effects on the humanity. Such dreadful trends since the dawn of the 21st century have made us realize how helpless we are in combating these threats to the mankind. We need to be ready with an armamentarium of broad spectrum agents which will be effective for a long period. So these are like punch lines in your research proposal, which will make the reviewer interested in your proposal, right? So likewise, it's always a better idea to give some numbers so that they are comfortable. Be thorough with the cite all the relevant latest literature. Tip two is read the request for proposals carefully. At times we don't read it. We only see how much is the funding, what is the submission deadline, and what is the eligibility. But you need to read every single word in that RFP very carefully. Do not misinterpret it. If you do not understand something, write to the program coordinator, get it clarified from them. It's very, very important. Keep visiting the funding agency website for the timely updates, including many times extension of deadline, early closure, or revisions in RFP, meaning there may be some changes in the eligibility or the funding. It happens rarely, but you should be, be very thorough with, keep visiting the funding agency website, be thorough with the updates. Plan your work related to the proposal writing and compilation so that you can finish well ahead of the deadline. Now, this is very important. Somebody tells you, there is a call, did you apply? That person would have already applied, and then he or she is telling, and then you see, there's only like 4 days left, and how am I going to do with like completed in 4 days? But because you have to apply, you will make sure that in 4 days you will finish it. So that's another important thing. You have to plan it well ahead of time. Don't work towards the deadline, right? So then this is what one thing. The first call from CSR, which came back in like when the pandemic started. Right, so this call was CSR and Mitli. CSR invites industry and startups to submit challenge-driven R&D proposals. So you see the way it was written, the proposal should clearly bring out in brief, not exceeding 5 pages among others, specific objectives, breakthrough, distinctive elements. So all these things will very, in that one paragraph, they'll tell you what they are expecting. You need to read every single word correctly and interpret it properly. If you don't understand, like I said, write to the program coordinator and then eventually you apply. The next one, the next tip is for online submission, register immediately. Don't wait if you are not part of that funding agency, or if you have not applied it before, registered immediately if not already registered, and know the submission portal. This is very important. I mean, many funding agencies will not allow you to go to the next page unless you fill some information there. So just I usually put hi, 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 and then I go to the next page, go to the next page till I reach the last page, and then if I have to upload something, I will upload a dummy file, and then I'll go to the next page, right? Because many times there are changes. They keep on revising the formats and the requirements. You need to really be very careful so that you don't get last minute surprises. And if you're dependent on somebody, including your vice chancellor or your institute head, and during the last days, if he or she is on leave and he's not available for signature, then that becomes a problem. So this is very important. Download the templates or formats. Don't assume anything. Download all the templates or formats while accessing these pages, so that you will prepare those documents, including MOU with your collaborator, including the endorsement from your institute head or from the collaborators institute or something. Read them carefully or do not assume it. Right? So make it a life and death situation, so that you'll be very careful about everything. So this is what I was talking about, a certificate from the investigator. Then this document has to be signed by all investigators, PI and co-PIs. Now you have to read it carefully, without which, if you don't read it carefully, and then at the time of submission, you realize, oh my God, all co-PIs and their heads of the institution, they have to sign it. What do I do now, right? So avoid these last minute things. So again, here, seal of the institution, university, and signature of the registrar, and who are like, a registrar can sign, head of the organization can sign, or principal of college. So who are the signatory authorities? Tell them, align them that you are going to come to them with the. Some of these would want the complete research proposal before they sign. So know these things well ahead of time, so that at least 4 days before you go to them with the complete proposal, and then show them, and then they will sign. So right. So these are very important things. I mean, you work on the full proposal, but if the signatures are not done in time, you will not be able to submit it in time. The next step is for online submission. This is actually I have the formatting requirements. Also, the word count is very important. Meaning, I remember my own thing. We applied for a BIRAC project under BIPP scheme. So the funding limit was around 50 crores, and then our proposal was around 7 crores. But then when we started putting things there, we found that there was the word count was there. I mean, the word limit was there, and there was no provision for putting the figures and tables, right? So we were kind of taken back because then we wouldn't really include any of the data. Then use of symbols, special characters, they may not be allowed, and that's where you need to and then of course start saving the draft. And then ideally, whatever you are putting online, you should put it in the notepad or in a Word file, and then name it appropriately, so that if something goes wrong while online putting the data online, you will be able to copy paste it. Otherwise, it becomes too frustrating, right? So this is very important. Many funding agencies have improved over a period of time, particularly BIRAC. Earlier it was nasty, now it is pretty cool, right? So the next trick is, before you start writing, you already have read the literature thoroughly, and it is pretty clear in your mind what you are going to propose: the objectives, milestone, deliverables. Some of these funding agencies would require that only 3 objectives, and then the maybe say 3 or 4 milestone related to every objective, and then the deliverable. So understand the difference between these, and put it accordingly. Don't be too ambitious. Don't be over promising, because then the reviewer will think that, oh, this guy is talking about too much work and to be done with too less money and too little time, right? So that's where make it simple. Don't over promise it with the in an attempt to impress the reviewer, right? So make sure it is in line with the request for proposal requirement. So this is what I was talking about. So here please enter objective, methodology, outcome, and then there will be the word limit of 2000 word limit. And some of these things will not take special characters, not even a bracket, not even a question mark like that. So you have to just deal with that, right? So it's very important. Then the next step is title. When you put the title of the proposal, it should be catchy, right? So it should essentially summarize what you are proposing. So it's a good idea to use keywords from the request for proposals or related documents such as mission statement of the scheme or call. Say, for example, a multi-pronged strategy with this for antiviral and immune boosting effects. Say this was one of the titles for my own proposal. Then the next one is HIV-1 protease inhibitors for the treatment of COVID-19. So again, like this. So it should be very catchy, and many times there could be a limit on the number of characters or word in the title. So don't make it too long, too complicated. Make it simple, but then it should convey the right thing to the reviewers. The next tip is the summary. The after title, they'll ask you the project summary, and there will be a word limit of maybe 1,000 words, 2,000 words. It should be, it should be succinct. Be very specific while writing the summary, and they should ideally be written the last. Meaning you write the remaining part of the proposal, and then you write the summary. Because at times, while the proposal is shaping up, you might not, and if you write the summary at the beginning, while the proposal is shaping up, there might be few changes which may not be reflected in the summary, because summary is what they are going to read the first, and based on that they'll see whether the proposal makes sense and whether to read other sections, right? So this is important. So use the latest literature, facts, and observations to support and highlight the need, approach, and methodology and the outcome, because this is a summary. Include a statement featuring how the proposed research is distinctly addressing the problem at hand, right? So again, you have to avoid run-of-the-mill type work. The moment the reviewer sees it, and he'll say, no, no, this is crap, or this is just run-of-the-mill thing, don't worry about it, right? So this is very important. Like I said, run-of-the-mill projects are detected in this particular section only. Then for letter of intent request for proposals, many times because the number of people who apply for funding, they're too much. So that time to limit the actual number of proposals, they will call for letter of intent, meaning you have to express your interest or expression of interest in 2 or 3 pages or in 2 or 3 points. So there you need to read everything properly and write. So various section could be write the idea briefly and clearly, describe the idea proposed. So what is the aim of the proposal and how is it relevant to the scope of the present call? Previous experience of the PI and team members, because I mean you may be proposing extremely good idea, but if there is no previous experience and if it's a big funding, then probably you will not get it. So that's where you need to look for a previous experience. But then now you say that how will I get previous experience? So this is like the companies would want to hire people who are with experience, and then right? So unless somebody gets into the company, how will they get the experience? So this is very similar thing, and that's where you need to look at the different funding schemes which are for the young scientists, or the startup grants which are like young researchers who are starting their career. So likewise, you need to make yourself, like you classify yourself and whether you are eligible for the call or not. That is another thing. Then has the preliminary work done so far? Now this is very, very important. So this is where the smaller grants which are given by the host institute or by the university are to be used for generating the proof of concept, or maybe for doing some preliminary work which will form the basis for the bigger funding, right? And this is where very, very important thing, you need to have some preliminary work. It could be a computational work, not necessarily wet lab work. It could be some preliminary work, and the reviewers will be definitely interested. So you should do that. Intellectual property, and if you already have the patent file for something which you are proposing, again that adds to your advantage. Then you should also be concerned into proposal objectives, activities, and milestone, because this RFP, the letter of intent RFPs, will be very short and like 5 or 6 pages. You have to summarize everything, and this is very important. So you need to use the space wisely. Then another interesting section, or rather very important section, is the international and national status of the proposed work. Right? So many funding agencies would want that. So do not miss out the work done nationally, because many of these things will be reviewed by national experts. And if they are working in that area, and if they don't see their work being featured, they will not be interested in even reading your thing, right? So consider it as ego issue or whatever. But somewhere they'll be hurt. They may read your proposal, but they will not be up for it, right? So you need to make sure that whichever work, like whosoever has published work in that area nationally, you must figure it, like you must feature it. Then the next one is use PubMed, Google, PatentScope, or any other tools, including SciFinder. Look out for national labs for researchers actively looking in that area of proposed research. I mean, you put the keyword, and probably Google or maybe PubMed or the PatentScope will give you some. It will point to some national lab or researcher. Visit their thing, talk to them in case you want to. They may be potential referees for your thing. Write to them, ask them some relevant questions related to the proposal, or ask for guidance, and they'll help you. And if the proposal goes to them, they will be happy to read it, and then if it is promising, they'll definitely recommend it. So these are all tricks which you should do. And we shy away from communicating with people, but we have everything on our fingertips. Why not use it? We have seen the pre-internet era. So many of you, at least the millennials, they don't know what it is like without living without an internet. So we have seen that thing where we used to connect in our ways, like personal meetings or maybe phone calls, but we have done that previously as well. The next one is the proposal methodology, milestones, and outcome. This is very, very important. Everything revolves around the objectives. So your objectives must be very clear. They should become clearly linked with the deliverables. Ideally, 3 to 5 objectives. Do not put like 8 or 9 objectives. Then nobody would be interested in that. And those objectives should also be aligned with the timeline. Meaning, many times one objective is dependent on the other. In other case, they will run parallelly. So the timeline, the milestone, the deliverables, and the objectives must be kind of intertwined, without which it's difficult, right? So while writing the objectives, it's a good idea to use keywords or words from the request for proposal or call for proposal, scheme, mission statements, or related words, right? So that you can intervene the need, current status, proposed research, and possible solution to the problem at hand together, right? These are very, very important things, and I have learned it the hard way. For example, identification of potential enzyme inhibitors with potent antitumor activity, starting from already identified hit one that exhibited reasonable potency and cellular activity. So I'm trying to convey that I already have an identified hit which has got a reasonable potency and cellular activity, and I want to further modify it. Then the next one is mode of action and in vitro synergy studies with enzyme inhibitors identified under normal oxidative stress, dormant-like conditions. I'm telling in the objective what am I going to do, what am I going to study, and this is again very clear. The reviewer will be very happy to read this. Whether your proposal gets funded or not, there are other factors responsible, but at least you will have some idea from this. The reviewer will have some rather good idea from this. The next one is ADME analysis and evaluation of PK profile following oral administration. So I'm actually writing almost everything in the objective itself, so that the reviewer has he gets an idea, okay, what is this guy up to and what is he going to do, right? So then the next step is, we are almost towards the end. Hopefully we'll be able to finish it in next 10 minutes as per our time. The tip 9 is the proposal methodology should be described briefly in logical sequence. Don't mix it up. Don't write anything which you will do afterwards first, right? So it should be in the logical sequence. Highlight the sections which are critical for the success of the proposed research work. And then ideally you should use flow diagrams, Gantt charts, so that the flow diagram will tell you will tell the reviewer that this is what this guy is going to do. And if this doesn't, if it is not so, because this is a hypothesis, if this experiment doesn't work, what is the alternate methodology? You should always, even if they don't ask for it, you give it, right? If this doesn't work, this is what I'm going to do, so that the reviewer will be very, very happy to know, okay, this guy is very thorough with what he's supposed to do. And if it doesn't work, because this is research, few things will work, few things will not work. If everything works, then that's not research, right? It's something else. Okay, so don't try to fool them. Make sure everything should be in a way in line with like the activities and the associated timelines. Then comes the next tip, that is the milestones and the or outcomes of the proposed research are very important. So you need to be very judicious while writing them, because ultimately it may be a very good science, but then unless you show them what you are going to deliver, and many funding agencies, they have milestone based payments, meaning unless you reach complete one milestone, you will not get the next funding. So this is very clear. It should be very objective, right? So you must be clever enough in proposing the milestone judiciously, so that you don't land up in a situation where you don't have money and you are somewhere in the middle of the research and the milestone is not complete. So this is again, I have learned it the hard way, but doesn't matter. That really helped me to get some real cool grants, real big grants, right? So the budget, this is again is very important, particularly if you're asking for an equipment. If if the total budget goes beyond 60 lakhs, or the equipment is more than like 25 lakhs, so then it goes to other committee, and that bigger committee is going to be, it will cut it short on a very large scale. So make sure if you don't really need an equipment for your proposal, don't ask for it, right? If you need it, then justify it, because that instrument cost will increase your budget, and you probably will have less money for actual work. And then there will be some inherent cost, like the research fellow cost and the fellowship. You see, it's very high, so that will take out large part of funding. So if the cap is like 15 lakhs for 18 months, 50 lakhs for 18 months, out of which 12 lakhs will be gone for the fellow. And then if you're asking for instruments, 20 lakhs, so you only have very small amount. And then that too, you have to manage the consumables, then the other things, including the overheads. Right, so you should have a lot of money for the consumables, and at least some money for contingencies. Some funding agencies may not really ask you separately, but then you have to think from that perspective, right? So don't put things which are not necessary just for the sake, because you are applying for something, and then you have to meet to the 50 lakh upper cap. You don't have to put if it is not necessary, right? So you don't forget, you are using taxpayers money, and you are one of them, most likely. So it's your own money. Treat this section as if you are going to fund it yourself. Budget for necessities and uncertainties, like I told you, the consumables and the contingents. Always have plan B ready. If it doesn't work, what will the other thing be, right? So contingencies for unforeseen activities. So understand that. The next thing is include all relevant references, including patents, research papers, conference abstracts, or any other credible literature, and follow a consistent reference writing style. Some people like me are very obsessive when it comes to references. If I see somebody is not very judicious in writing references, I probably wouldn't be happy with that proposal. Also, make sure to include the title of the paper, if unless there is some word limit, because if the reviewer looks at the paper and if the title is there, then definitely it will help the reviewer to understand. He or she may actually go and look at the paper, and that always helps, right? So it's very important thing. When you write the references in the proposal, include the title of the paper. Very important thing, right? Make sure each of the references is complete in all respects, meaning in some cases, the year is missing, or the volume is missing, issue number is missing, or page numbers are missing. Don't do that, right? So everything should be complete. The next one, the related trick is perform a thorough spell check. If there are spelling mistakes, grammatical mistake, that's the worst thing actually. As in, it's not expected from you, right? So use Grammarly. There are softwares like Grammarly for these corrections. Get the proposal read from someone senior, if reliable. Meaning, if you are sure that the person will not steal your idea, something. So then you can ask that person to read it. Right? Keep reading it again and again before till the time you submit it. Make it better, and the best. Because why should somebody fund you if because your proposal is best, your idea is best, your overall work plan is best, and that's where you need to make it best till the time you submit it. This is very important, right? The next one is good research needs good funding. So be explorative while proposing ideas. Those ideas should reflect your scientific rigor. This is very important. And unless you are updated with the research, like whatever idea you are proposing, somebody might have already thought about it, possible. So that's where you need to write the literature thoroughly. If the reviewer points out that, oh, okay, this is the idea which somebody has already proposed because the reviewer works in that area, then in that case, you are gone. Like your proposal is not going to get funded for sure. So डर के आगे जीत है. So give it your best shot. But don't be over ambitious. Don't be over promising. That's very important. And like I said, you will learn this eventually. So in fact, there is a rule. I was looking at a video recently. They say that anything what you do, there's always a 10% chance of success. So unless you keep doing things, keep taking chances, be daring, you will not be successful, right? So this is a very important thing. You should, that was some TEDx talk actually. So 90% of the times you will fail. This is what they were saying. So if something which you are trying one time and then 90% probability that you will fail. So if you do it like 10 times, you will definitely get it done. So this is what they were saying, and research proposals are not very different from that. So what's the take-home message? So before I actually talk about this, suppose there is a call and you apply for it. There were around say like 450 proposals, out of which they 20% of the proposals get selected for presentation. And if you are one of them, so half the battle is already won. So celebrate this. But then when it comes to presentation, make sure you do the best job because at times they'll not ask you for presentation. They'll just look at the presentation. I mean, you do not have to be present virtually also. There are some funding agencies will ask you to present virtually while the presentation is in progress. They'll ask you to record your voice and then they'll ask questions after your presentation is over, right? So the presentation, most of the times they'll give you templates. So stick to the template. Don't make it like, don't apply your own brain for coming up with some more sections. So stick to the template because they clearly mention that. They'll usually give you 1 or 2 days to complete the presentation and send it back to them. So you'd be very sure of that. And then if at all they are asking you to present, be very thorough with, keep the literature handy. If there is some question, you can always talk about the literature and answer the question, right? So it's very, very important. So writing a research proposal is like making a dish. You need the right ingredients in right proportions, in right sequence, in the right manner, with the right processing to test the success of getting funded. You will evolve eventually as a better version of yourself as a researcher with consistent efforts, never to give up attitude, perseverance, and unfathomable curiosity, right? So even if it doesn't get funded, forget it. As in, like I told you, I wrote 19 proposals, only 3 got funded. Of course, one is still pending from BRNS. I'm yet to hear, and I I'm just hoping I'll get it. So you can imagine, 19, 3 out of 19. So you can do the maths and see. But all those rejections never really bothered me. I kept on writing, and so this is where I am at times very, very proud of myself that I feel bad for some time, but then the next moment I'll be ready with the next idea, next proposal, right? So the success rate, I told you, although this is kind of 2 rejected and 1 successful. Now, this, like I said, I applied for 19 proposals last year. So that is now what, 6 rejected and 1 funded, or maybe 5 rejected and 1 funded. No one taught me how to write proposals. Well, I am just lazy, I guess. In the sense, I tried to do it. I tried to learn all by myself. I did not even really look at any of the lectures or whatever is available on the Google. So I just tried, I experimented, and that's exactly why I thought what I know is pretty good. Of course, I'm not the expert in the sense I don't claim that I know everything. Absolutely not. Nobody should claim that. Right. So with this, thank you so much. If there are any questions, please feel free to ask. Perfect. It's 55 minutes.
Thank you, Dr. Prashant. You were too apt. And let me tell you, I really liked your analogy that writing a research proposal is like preparing a dish. and you need everything in the right proportion. And let me tell, Prashant, can you close your slide sharing?
Oh, sure, sure.
Yeah. And let me tell my viewers that shelling out or taking out money from someone else's pocket is the hardest job.
True.
And as a researcher, when you are trying to do it, you have to be really thorough related to the concept which you want to put across to the reviewers, and the things which you are putting into the proposal. You need to be 100% confident about it. Guessing, just forecasting, or over ambitious kind of things, if you are putting into the proposal, for sure you will be in hot water. You will be creating a problem for yourself. So honesty is the best policy.
Yes.
Whatever you know and how much you know, that you should put it into the proposal, and giving the right references. Never ever fail to acknowledge the person or the work which you have used for forming the concept or the background of your research proposal. And as it is being already said, Dr. Prashant is very learned fellow, though he is saying that I may be lazy. I guess I know he is not at all lazy. He is very
He says, Dr. Prashant
individual.
says, Dr. Atish, if Dr.
Yeah.
Prashant says he is lazy, then we are 1,000 times lazy than him.
No, that's why I'm clearing this to the viewers and audience, that Dr. Prashant is very hardworking individual. I have seen him after completing his PhD. He has done his B.Pharm from NDM VP College of Pharmacy, Nasik, and every professor speaks about him a lot whenever we meet in Nasik. Even I know his post-graduation and know him after his PhD. He has done his post-graduation and PhD from ICT. And then we were associated in Bharati Vidyapit. Then also we were associated when he was there in NMIMS. So I know how workaholic you are, Prashant. And that is the reason because of which you have got a research grants worth 4.5 crores and more than that. And you are still working on many proposals. May God bless you and all the best for your future research proposals. Our student will be in touch with you. I think you have made each and every point so clear. You have given around a dozen tips for writing research proposal, and each and every tip was lucid clear to all the viewers. Thank you for being.
I will share my presentation in case people are interested, or if you want to put it on your website also, I don't mind. I'll share the PDF copy of my presentation.
Actually, whole this presentation is being recorded and it is being made available on YouTube. Okay, viewers can view it any point of time. Perfect. And even students can search you onto LinkedIn, onto YouTube, onto Google, and you are a pretty known figure now in the field of medicinal chemistry.
Thank you.
So they will be in touch with you. We are really grateful and thankful to you for sparing your valuable time. I know you will be busy in the noon again. You are supposed to deliver another talk. So
4 to 5.
Where the laziness is, I don't understand. Even Sunday you are so busy, and being so busy and so workaholic, you have spared your valuable time with us. On one call, you accepted our invitation and you joined us on this virtual platform. We are really thankful to you, sir, and keep blessing us.
Thank you so much.
Yes, yes, Pankaj. Yes, over to you, Pankaj.
Yeah, hello, Prashant, sir. It is a very nice presentation. I really like it, this one. And you mentioned that is the drug discovery, and particularly you are interested in that one. So I want to ask one question regarding that one. In which particular area they are more concentrating for getting the funding? It is there are three particular things we will go for the drug discovery. One is the genomic mining, or we call it genetic engineering. Second is the combinatorial chemistry, or STS, high throughput screening technologies. And third is from the plants analysis, or the drugs which we discover from the plants analysis.
Yes.
So out of these three, which one is more emerging right now for the drug discovery and for getting the funding?
Well, a great question, Dr. Pankaj. The thing is, I mean, these preferences keep changing, and many times what happens is even the guys who are part of the committees who review these grants, so they keep changing. I think every once or twice a year or so, like twice a year, not twice a year, like once in 2 years, they change it. So if I am part of that committee, I would definitely would want the proposals on drug discovery, because that's my forte. So although the funding agency, I mean, if you look at BIRAC, they use, I mean, they have got huge funding available, and at times there is no upper cap on the number of proposals they can fund. So at times, depending on those who are in those who sit in the committees, those who review the proposals, that's one thing, as well as the idea. I mean, everything definitely revolves around the idea, and if the idea is relevant, and if they are concerned, I mean, if they are assured that this idea is going to work and this is going to advance science, they usually fund it. And in fact, if you see, there has been a great change in the funding. I mean, leave aside SCRB, but if you look at DBT and DST in general, so the quantum of funding has increased to a great extent. Now the main focus for larger funding is institutional grants, right? So that's where one has to look for. But then you say that, then what will the smaller, I mean, small institutes do, right? But then again, like I said, you can always get associated with big institutes, and at least at the beginning of your career, you should be able to offer something, some unique expertise in your area, and be associated with a lot of people from big institutes, and they wouldn't mind if you if you want to work in their lab for, say, during summer vacation for a month or so. But the networking is the key, the collaboration is the key. You can't do everything all by yourself. So although I did not stress much on this, because this was related to more the funding, but then collaboration is the key. You can't really do anything and everything. So that's where you have to look for people who are with complementary expertise. And if you are at the beginning of your career, try and tie up with people who are from big institutes. Like, you may say they may not entertain, but we be very perseverant. I mean, people, there are 90% of the people whom you contact will be really, they'll respond. A lot of people contact me also. I tell them, of course, this is pandemic, but otherwise I usually try and help them in every possible way. So how much passionate you are for what you want to do, I think that will decide everything. So as far as the funding area is concerned, like I said, if your idea is good, and if usually they also look for multidisciplinary ideas, even though the call is for drug discovery, but if there is a translational potential where you have got some biotechnology component or some molecular biology component involved, it will be funded. So there is no hard and fast rule, although you have to stick to the main theme of the call. But believe me, you can be more, and that's where they'll look for proposals which are not run of the mill, some distinct proposals, and this is where you have to create more impressive content in the research proposal.
Okay. So, Miss, I'm going to ask another question.
Yes,
Miss, it is not related with the research, but I heard that, Miss, you mentioned that most of the funding they are giving to the colleges, organizations like that one. Do they give any such funding to any companies, private limited companies, or any organization? Because other than this one, they mentioned that the startup businesses they are going to encourage. Yes. It is also one of the startup business, any research companies like that one. So are they interested in that one?
Yes. In fact, BIRAC is BIRAC. If you go to BIRAC site, they have got many schemes specifically for startups, where say something like BioNest, they'll give funding up to 50 lakhs for the startup to further develop their prototype, right? So BIRAC has got many schemes, and at times there is also like some of the schemes would want an academic collaborator to get involved, because if you go to some institute like ICT or TIFR, where they have got good facility, and then a startup is now is asking for funding, so they'll insist that you should collaborate with some academic institutions, so that the startup will now be able to use the facilities at the institution and work with the prototype. So BIRAC has, in fact, if you go to BIRAC website, there are many success stories. They have funded like hundreds of startups for funding, and many of the BIRAC schemes encourage industry partner as well. If it is like, there are some schemes which are specifically only for academics, but most of the funding schemes like BIPP, they will have the academic partner a necessity there. So yes, BIRAC is the right one to, for the startups or even company, not necessarily startups, even established companies can ask for funding. They will, if there is some real groundbreaking idea, they will fund.
Dr. Prashant, let me tell you why he was asking all these things, because he is director of Ultrachrome. and he is my BPharm classmate. He has done his MS PhD from UK and doing a good work in analysis work,
And
providing analysis solutions.
And
so you can have a good venture if you come together.
Yeah, Atish, and again next year I am going to UK because I am getting the job as because my supervisor under my PhD, he is retiring, and he wanted my name over there to as a replacement for him.
Wow.
So next year I am going as to do my job as there. But before that, whatever the work I have done, I have to complete it. I have to complete within 1 year. So, and it is very, and really, I want to say that it is very good that Miss Atish put you for giving this presentation.
He is a budding entrepreneur and having his own organization, Ultrachrome. So you can have word related to this. You can be really a good partners for each other.
Yes. In fact, we have got one BIRAC grant with Godavari Biorefineries Limited. So we asked for 7.5 crores. They gave us 1.4 crores. But then they also reduced the scope of the work from 3 years to 18 months and from the preclinical work to only a proof of concept. So we did get a funding from BIRAC along with a company. So yes, they do fund a lot of like there are a lot of their schemes. They revolve around industry involvement.
Thank you, Prashant.
Thank you very much. It is very valuable, sir. Very valuable.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Now we move on to the second speaker of the day. Mr. Swapnil Ghorpade is our next speaker, and he is going to deliver his talk on role of IPR in the growth of pharma industry, Indian perspective. So how intellectual property rights play a very keen and vital role in increasing the revenue or growth of any pharma industry. That is what he is going to talk about. Mr. Swapnil Ghorpade is a director of Bausam IP Consultancy Private Limited, which is based in Mumbai. He has more than 11 years of experience in the field of intellectual property rights, especially patents in pharmaceutical domains. He has successfully handled a wide range of projects while working with multinational companies like Abbott Healthcare Limited, Concordia International Limited, Microlabs, and Panacea Biotech. Currently, he is independently providing the support in all kinds of IPR, research and technology development, and business development to various multinationals, corporates, and academic institutions, R&D organizations, new startups, MSMEs, academic institutions, and individual inventors. He has completed his graduation as well as post-graduation from Pune University and has also completed the course in IPR from Nalsar University, Hyderabad, as well as Bharati Vidyapith, Pune. His background in pharmaceutical sciences and intellectual property rights actually helped him to grow and nurture the idea of more and more research and innovations across different domains. His core interest and expertise in the business development through requisite for innovation in the ever-changing world and expertise in intellectual property rights benefit him to provide a complete service to obtain research milestones and business growth. So we are really happy to have Dr. Swapnil Ghorpade, a budding entrepreneur on platform of LPC-52. I heartily welcome you, sir, and over to you, Swapnil, sir.
Thank you, Atish, sir. Good afternoon, everybody. And I'm very glad to be a part of this live Pharma Coalition 52. And thank you for the brief introduction to Atish, sir, and Raman, sir, Pankaj, sir, for introducing me to this great platform which we are having there for the growth of pharma professionals and students as well. So today we'll be discussing more on the aspect of IPR, what are IPR, intellectual property rights, and how it has helped in growth of the Indian pharmaceutical industry. So before starting my presentation, I am very happy and I am very glad to let you know that tomorrow, 26th April, is the World IPR Day. So it is a World Intellectual Property Day, and I am very glad that I am giving this presentation today to the pharma professionals, and I'm hopeful that it will be very helpful for your to grow your knowledge or your career for the students to choose their career in the IPR and to have some more insights about the IPR. So before starting my by starting my presentation, I might you might have, all have been gone this to this that India is the pharmacy of the world. So this is a very commonly used term while the pharmacy in the pharmacy world, that India is known as the pharmacy of the world, that it provides maximum pharmaceutical formulations to the world. So why India is known as pharmacy of the world? So let's begin with that. So before going with the importance of IPR, let's see where India stands in the pharmaceutical universe. So let's see some facts and figures about why India is known as the pharmacy of the world. So first and foremost is India is the third largest pharmaceutical industry by volume. So after US and China, India provides the maximum number of pharmaceutical products to the world. 20% of global supply by volume comes from India. 62% of global supply of vaccines come from India. So you all during this corona pandemic, you all might be going through this phase that India is supplying corona vaccine to the world, and all these vaccine discussions are going on. So globally, India is supplying 62%, which is a very huge amount. Then again, India is the only country with largest number of US FDA compliant pharma plants outside USA. So it's a very encouraging thing, because USA is one of the biggest consumer of the pharmaceuticals in the world, and India is one of the largest US FDA compliant pharma plants outside of US. The other thing is that India has more than 2,000 WHO GMP approved pharma plants and 253 European EDQM approved plants. India is source of more than 60,000 generic brands and more than 500 different APIs across the world. Also, the cheapest medicines in the world are found in India. So this is a very important thing. These are very important facts and figures about India. We as Indians should be proud of these facts, that India is one of the biggest suppliers of pharmaceuticals, most specifically generic pharmaceuticals in the world. But the thing is that India was not always like this. So there is some background behind that. So before, during independence, after some period, after some time after the independence, India was not this much good pharmaceutical industry across the world. Some things happened which we can brief into history. Some things happened that made India such a pharmaceutical giant in the world. So we'll not go into very details into the history, but some brief broad this happened in 1970. So we will be discussing brief history of pharmaceutical industry in three era. The first era is called as pre-1970 era. So what happened in 1970 we'll be discussing later on. But this pre-1970 era, pharmaceutical industry was not very much developed in India. So medicines were very expensive across the country. Medicines were mostly imported. So there were very few pharmaceutical industries, indigenous pharmaceutical industries in India, and there were extreme shortage of medicines. So before this 1970 era, and before during British era and after British era till 1970 era, so medicines and pharmaceutical industry was not that much developed in India. But something happened in 1970. That era is called as 1970 to 1995 era. So during that 1970, there was introduction of Indian Patent Act. It was introduced in India in 1970. So there is a short history behind that, but we will not go into details of that. But just one thing need to be confirmed, that this Indian Patent Act was introduced, and it acted as a game changer for the pharmaceutical industry in India. So our topic for today's discussion is that the importance of IPR, significance of IPR into the pharmaceutical industry. So this game-changing action happened in 1970. That the Indian Patent Act was introduced. So what was the basic what happened in that Patent Act that such a game change for Indian pharmaceutical industry? So first of all, the process patent regime was introduced in India. So what is process patent? That we'll be discussing later on slides. But the major thing need to be noted, that this process patent regime was introduced. And in 1970 Patent Act, there was no any provision for the product patent. So product patent, process patent, these things we'll be discussing. But and during this 1970 to 95 era, Indian pharmaceutical industry flourished. So it did just generally normally flourish, but it flourished at a very high pace. And the pharmaceutical industry, which we are seeing today in 20th century, This all started in 1970 to 1995. So this pharmaceutical industry which flourished in that was a boon, that was a benefit of the Indian Patent Act. And the third era which we'll be discussing and which we are currently going through is post 1995 era. So something again happened in 1995 that India signed the WTO TRIPS agreement. So again, WTO TRIPS agreement is TRIPS agreement is World Trade Organization's trade-related intellectual property rights agreement, which is signed by most of the countries in the world. And when India signed that agreement, we got a 10 years of transition phase, and the patent scenario changed in this WTO TRIPS agreement again in 1995. And currently we are going through that phase. And in this 1995 era, product patent regime was introduced into the Indian patent system, in Indian pharmaceutical system. So before we will not going into the details of each and every aspect, but just the things we need to be discussed, that currently we are standing in a very strong and very dynamic Indian pharmaceutical industry in India, and it happened because of these activities which are directly correlated. Indian Patent Act introduced in 1970, India signed the WTO TRIPS agreement in 1995, and today we are standing in a very strong pharmaceutical industry where we are supplying a lot of drugs, including the COVID vaccine and the pharmaceutical, the remdesivir and all those all those drugs to the world. And this is a very proud moment for every one of us. But so all these how it is connected. So let's see what is the role of IPR in development of pharma industry. So we have gone through the brief history. We have gone through the where the pharmaceutical industry stands today. We have gone through the brief history. But what is the role of IPR in development of this pharma industry? So before going into the details of the role of IPR, let's say brief discussion about what is IPR and how it is all these things are connected. So IPR is nothing but intellectual property rights, and anything that is created by mind, that is called an intellectual property. As the word itself implies, intellectual property. Intellectual means anything that comes from anyone's intellect or anyone's mind, that is called as intellectual property. And the rights, that the rights which protects that property, like any property should be protected by some rights. For example, whenever you own a house or anyone owns a car, there is an agreement or there is a this RC book that this property belongs to such a so and so person. So such rights, there are also such rights which protects the intellectual property as well. So as this is a property, there should be rights, and these rights, those are called intellectual property rights. And there are different types of intellectual property rights which covers the different aspects of the properties. These different aspects of the IPs, intellectual properties. So let's shortly go through each and every intellectual property. The first and foremost and the most important regarding the pharmaceutical industry are the patents. So patents are one of the important, most important intellectual property rights as pharmaceutical industry is concerned, because patents are most related to the research and innovations, research, any new technology. So all these are summarized, and all these are covered by the patents. Then the other intellectual property, that is trademark, which covers a name, logo, and all those things. That is covered by trademark. Then there is another intellectual property, copyright, which is mostly used in the author literary or artistic work. So that field copyright comes into force. Then there are industrial designs, which covers the designs and structures and all those novel aspects of the product. And then there is a geographical indication. So we'll not be going into details of each and every IPRs, but one of the most important IPR which we'll be discussing today are the patents. So how patents plays a very important role in the development of the pharmaceutical industry. So in previous discussion of Prashant sir, you might have come across this word, that patent. So he was discussing about the research grant and research proposal and funding of that, and he discussed that if there are any patents related to, you should mention the name, you should mention the patents and all those aspects of that patent of the product, of that invention. So this patent has so much importance in the research and pharmaceutical industry that there is no any option for the patents. So let's see briefly what are the patents and why it is given so much importance. So brief definition of patents is that patents are defined as exclusive rights granted by the government to the inventor for manufacture, use, offer for sale, import, or sale of the invention for limited time period. So this is a very important, and each and every word in this definition is very much important when the patents are concerned. So it is an exclusive right, like it is. This is the right granted only to the inventor or the representative of the inventor, such as company or institute or any startup or any academic institute. So that is an exclusive right granted by the government for the manufacture, use, offer for sale, import, and sale. So one thing need to be kept in mind that patents are very important from the commercial perspective, from the commercial side and from the financial income gain. Patents are very much important, and any of the commercial activities related to that product, that is covered under the patents. For example, whenever you are having a patent for any XYZ product, that product, any commercial activity of that product is covered by patent, and only you can, only the inventor can take the decisions for manufacturing, using, selling, or importing, or any other activities of that patent, of that product. And this invention is for the limited time period. So it's more specifically, it's for 20 years from the date of filing. So let's see some basic features of patents. So as we have discussed that it is for 20 years from the date of filing. Then patents is a territorial right. So territorial right, when we say it's a territorial right, that means that whenever a patent is granted, it is granted only for a specific territory. For example, a patent granted in India is not valid outside India. So if you want to get a patent in India, patent in USA, you have to separately file a patent application in USA, US Patent Office, or European Patent Office, and then you can get a grant for that patent in that patent office. But there is no any such provision like world patent, that one patent is applicable everywhere. So this territorial patent is a territorial right. Then patent is an exclusive right which results in monopoly. So monopoly is a very important term here. Whenever you say that patent results in monopoly, that means that only the inventor has a right to take the commercial decisions or take the financial decisions of that product, of that invented product for which patent is granted. So this exclusivity provides patent such an important weightage to the patents. And then again, that is exclusionary right which is granted and protected by the law. So Indian Patent Act is enacted by the Indian patent law, Indian law, and it is an exclusion right. If anyone is using the patented invention or the invention against the patentee's compliance, then that can be excluded. And there are patent cases wherein the patentee can or the inventor can go to the court, and then he fights and he gets the alimony, or he gets the compensation for whatever the loss he has got from the third party's utility of the patents. So these are some basic features of the patent. So from the pharmaceutical perspective, there are different types of patents which needs to be taken care of. So which needs to be considered. These patents are more specifically towards the pharmaceutical industry. So this Patent Act or IP Act, it is applicable for all the fields. But pharmaceutical industry, it is having very much importance. The first one is a product or API or molecule patent. So this is first and foremost and most important patent which we come across while considering the pharmaceutical our industry. So patent, this product patent, it covers the molecule or API as such. So anything related to any commercial use related to that API cannot be used by the third party or any other entity other than the patentee. So for example, whenever XYZ, for example, whenever let's say nowadays we are speaking more about remdesivir and all those things. So remdesivir is a molecule. That molecule is covered by the patent by Gilead, and that company is only having the rights for that product. So it can manufacture, it can use, it can sell this molecule. There are others like currently it has given voluntary license to the Indian pharma companies to use to commercialize that product. So all these rights are given to the pharmaceutical company, and that mostly covers the API or molecule of that molecule of the this patent mostly covers the API and molecule. Then the other patent is process patent. So this process patent, as we have mentioned that in 1970 there was a provision of process patent. So this process patent is like process of preparing the molecule. So whatever the chemical synthesis or synthetic process that is there for the preparation of that molecule, that is covered into the process patent. So currently also this process patent is valid, and in 1970 that process patent was very much, it was the only patent, and product patent was not valid in 1970 Patent Act. So that was introduced in 1995 TRIPS agreement. So and when process patent was introduced in India, the pharmaceutical industries, what they did, that even if the product was patented outside India, they can manufacture that patent using the other process other than the patented process. So the main reason for flourishing of the Indian pharmaceutical industry was that this process patent can be bypassed, or the other process can be utilized for manufacturing the product. And as there was no any patent on the product, therefore there was no any stringent monopoly of any pharmaceutical industry in India in 1970 to 1995 era. So that was the basic reason that in that era pharmaceutical industry flourished at a very high pace. Then there is a third patent which is called as method of use patent. This patent covers the therapeutic indication of the molecule or the product. But in India, this method of use patent are not valid, but these are valid outside India, like US, Europe, or other countries. These method of use patents are valid. Then one of the most important patents from the Indian patent scenario, Indian pharmaceutical scenario, are the formulation or composition patents. So these formulation or composition patents, those cover the formulation aspect, like the qualitative, quantitative formula, the dosage forms, and the other formulation aspects or composition aspects. Those are our process of preparing a formulation. So these aspects are covered in the formulation or the composition patents. And why I am saying that these patents are important from the Indian perspective, because India is mostly the generic pharmaceutical world. India has a generic era. So when we say generic pharmaceuticals, so at that time product patent or API molecule patent, those are mostly from the innovative product perspective. But formulation and composition, those comes from the generic perspective. So these are one of the important formulation patents. One of the important formulation patents are one of the important patents in the from the pharmaceutical industry in India. Then there are device or design patents. So these device and design patents, this covers the any specific device, any specific innovative device design of any specific device. For example, whenever there is a novel type of inhaler which is introduced, so that can be covered by design patent or device patent. And then there are polymorph, particle size, or derivative patents. So if there are any new novel polymorphic form, or some particle size or derivatives of some, but there are some limitations in Indian Patent Act, which are limitations are implemented in the section 3D of the Indian Patent Act. So section 3D will be coming across in some next slide. But in India, we cannot easily get a polymorphic or particle size patent unless they have some enhanced efficacy over the existing product. So India, from the Indian patent perspective, product patent, process patent, and formulation patent. So these are mostly the important patents which are need to be considered, and those patents decides the fate of that molecule and the fate of the pharmaceutical company which are manufacturing those products. Then what are the purpose of patents? So why we are speaking so much of patents, and what is its purpose in the development and flourishment of the pharmaceutical industry? So the first and foremost purpose of the patents are encouragement to improvement and innovation. So whenever there is a patent granted to an inventor of that product, so it encourages that inventor, or it encourages the pharmaceutical company to do the more and more improvements and innovations into the existing technology, or existing development of the existing technology. So that is very much important. Then reward to the inventor, as we all know that patent grants the monopoly to the inventor. So whenever there is a monopoly, there are monetary benefits. There are a lot of compensation given to the inventor. If there is only one product into the market and there are no generics or no any competitors, so that inventor or that company can launch that product, and without any competition, they can sell that product into the market only on one and only basis of their patents. Then their patents encourage scientific research, new technology, and industrial progress. So whenever there is any new scientific research or new technology or industrial, any new progress into the industrial field, that encouragement is given by the patents. So whenever we say that it encourages the scientific research. For example, whenever any new research is going on, innovation and development is going on, any new and if there is patent, then no one else can copy that same invention or same product and can go ahead with the file launching the generic and the copy of that product. So that encouragement is given only if the patents are there. Let's consider a scenario when there are no patents. So if there is no patent, then when whatever research is done, whatever expenditures are gone into the research, as Prashant sir already have mentioned that there are a lot of fundings and these things are required for doing a research. A lot of money and expenditure are invested into doing the research. And if there is no, if the research is done and any other person comes and copies the same research and goes in the market and does the commercial exploits the invention commercially, so that discourages the inventor, and then there will be no any research or new technology will be introduced into the market. So patents plays a very much important in doing the encouraging this scientific research. Then again, grant of exclusive privilege to own, use, or sell the method or the product stimulates new invention of commercial utility. For example, whenever there is an existing product into the market, and for the purpose of getting the patent, that there must be some new invention, or there must be some advancement in the existing invention, and these exclusive privileges or these patents encourages the owner, encourages the company, or encourages the inventor to go ahead with the stimulates the new invention of the commercial utility. Then disclosure of the invention at patent office passes into public domain, which can be used by general public after patent expiry. So this is the advantage of patent or purpose of patent, which is beneficial to the general public. So whenever there is a patent for a product, and whenever that patent gets expired, that patented product or that technology goes into the public domain, and anyone from the public can go ahead and copy and make the copies of the similar product which was patented. So this new technology that is helpful for the mankind, and then we have seen lot of drugs and lot of molecules which are going off patent, and then there are generics launched for that products, and as there are more and more generics launched for the non-patented or patent expired products, the prices goes down for that product, and then that is easily accessible for the general public. So that is advantage of the patents to the public and to the general public. So these are various purposes of the patent, which balances between the importance of patents to the innovator as well as the general public. So that these things are very much to be kept into mind while considering the patent. So when speaking of the Indian pharmaceutical industry, there are some peculiarities of the Indian industry. So as we all might have know that India is mostly the generic oriented industry. So a lot of generics are there into the generic companies are there into the in the India. There are some companies which are working as the innovator companies, but a lot of the companies, mostly those are generic oriented generics. This is generic oriented industry. That is one of the peculiarity. This is different from the US and European or the regulated market. So mostly the innovator companies, those come from US, Europe, or Japan, but India is mostly the generic oriented industry. Then the next peculiarity of Indian pharmaceutical industry is there is no linkage between the patent office and regulatory authority. So this is one of the different aspects from the US patent scenario. So when I say that there is no linkage between patent office and regulatory authority, that means that as you all know that for getting a patent or for getting the product licensed into the country, we need to take a grant from the regulatory authority, like Indian FDA, or in US you need to take the grant from the US FDA. But in USA there is a linkage between the patent office and the US FDA. so that whenever there is a patent for any product into the for any product, then regulatory authority checks for that patent, which comes under the Hatch-Waxman Act, which are those patents, those are mentioned into the Orange Book. But in India, there is no such provision like Orange Book or any linkage between the patent office and regulatory authority. The significance of this point is that when we say that there is no linkage, so the any activity related to the patent and any all the rights or all the rights that should be implemented from the patent perspective are those responsibility lies towards the patentee or the inventor who have got the patent. So there is no any responsibility of the government authority or regulatory authority to check if the product is patented or not. For example, if any inventor has invented a product and he has got the patent for that, and any other third party is going for the regulatory approval of that product to the regulatory authority, Indian FDA. So Indian FDA will not check if there is any patent for that, but it is a responsibility of the owner of that patent to go to the court and Indian court and then fight for his rights and to revise the to get the rights from that product. Then India has a very strong patent regime. So when we say that India has a very strong patent regime, there is the Patent Act in India has developed a lot since 1995 amendment. So after 1995, Indian Patent Act was amended, and currently Indian patent regime is very strong across the world. So there are a lot of cases where we can see that even the US and Europe and other countries, they are appreciating some decisions of the Patent Office of India. Then there is a provision of Section 3D of an Indian Patent Act in 1970. So that Section 3D is one of the most peculiar section of the Indian Patent Act as far as the Indian pharmaceutical industry is considered. What is mentioned in Section 3D? It is that mere discovery or mere change in the existing invention that is not applicable for the patent for getting the patent granted in India. So that you cannot change, you cannot make a mere minute change in the existing technology and go ahead with the patent grant of that product. So this is very much important from the pharmaceutical industry perspective. So from the pharmaceutical industry, the patent has very much significance because as we all know that the pharmaceutical companies based on patented products are categorized into two types. One is the branded or innovator company and the other is generic company. So branded company or innovator company, those companies are the innovators of the product, and generic companies are like they go ahead with they file for the generic of the existing innovator products. So when we say generic companies, so India has lot of generic companies as compared to branded companies. Pharmaceutical industry is highly based on research and development. So when we say research and development, there should be application of patents to protect that research and development. And when we say that pharmaceutical industry is highly based on research and development, is that there is continuous research going on and continuous innovation is going on either from the technology perspective in the pharmaceutical industry. So there are a lot of industries, lot of institutes which are doing the research, and there are a lot of academic institutes. Then there are some companies, startups, a lot of companies which are working for the research and development. So that Indian pharmaceutical industry is very much focusing on the research and development, and the cost of R&D of new drug is enormously high. So why we are saying these points? Because whenever we are doing research and development, there is a lot of funding required, a lot of money and time, and everything is required. And when we are saying for a new drug, it's enormously high. Like sometimes innovating only a single product may take millions and billions of dollars, and it may take 10 to 15 years of time to just develop one product or one molecule to come into the market. So this enormously high cost that needs to be covered up, or that needs to be taken care of, and that can be taken care of only on the basis of patents. So because patents are the only rights which can give proper motivation to the companies to invest such a enormous, highly expenditure into the research and development. Then the entire focus on invention of new drugs is based on patent protection of the new drugs, because only if there are patents and only if there is monopoly into the market, then only such companies will invest so much millions and billions dollars and 10 to 15 years or 20 years into invest so much huge amount of time and money. Only if they will be getting the monopoly of that product. Because if someone, for example, if some company does some invention and if generic companies comes on the next day into the market, then it is of no use that they will not gain any such additional benefit from the generic companies. Then no company will come into the market and invest so much high amount of money and time. So in absence of patent protection of pharmaceuticals, the investment in R&D would have been much lesser, and consequently less number of new drugs would have been generated. So this is the baseline tagline of this, because in absence of patent protection. So if there is no any patent protection, there will be no investment, or no one will come ahead with doing some research, and there will be no any additional technology will be introduced into the market. So to summarize today's talk, India is called as some pharmacy of the world. India already contributes over 20% by value of the global generic market, and Indian products contribute over 40% of the US drugs. So different intellectual property rights, especially patent and trademark, plays a very crucial role in development of the pharmaceutical sector in India. And going ahead, when we talk about self-reliant India or Atmanirbhar Bharat, pharmaceutical companies in India have a tremendous opportunity to grow its global portfolio and become world pharma leaders. Due to advantage of patents and other IP rights, Indian companies are investing hugely in R&D and developing new products, formulations, biotech products, APIs, device delivery systems, and other new technology. And because of such a great scope and such great advantage of the patent in the pharmaceutical industry, there are great career opportunities in the field of innovation, R&D, and IPR. So that's it from my side.
Thank you, Swapnil sir, for a very elaborative presentation on IPR. Can you stop your screen sharing?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks a lot for giving detailed insight into intellectual property rights. You have rightly summed up everything and has clearly conveyed how creating your own intellectual property can help you in carving your niche in the field of pharma profession. And I would like to add one thing into it. It is the only property which cannot be stolen by anyone else. Other property you can have encroachment onto, but this is the only property where encroachment is not possible. So one should try to develop this property a lot rather than trying to build other properties where you have to pass your sleepless nights to ensure that your property is protected. Here you will have a clear protection and nobody can use it unless and until you are allowing him or her to do so. And for sure, creating this property will help you in building your image into the field, and it will help you in growing into the field. And this is what our pharma industries are witnessing since the implementation of GATT since 2005. We are finding a much more increase into the R&Ds and F&Ds into our country. So thanks a lot for sharing your views. Any question, Dr. Kharabe?
Yes, Swapnil sir. It is not just like the simple. It is not the question. The queries I have. If anyone have done any patents, if he got the patents, okay, and if someone has modified that patents, okay, if I am a person, if I am a person, I have done the patent, I have got the patent copyrights for that one. If for example the Dr. Atish, if he want to modify that one, okay, and after modification, if you want to go for the further patents or he want to use, so is it possible to that person, to Atish, that he can do for that modification like that one? Or there is further any I need to do any further thing, though he can stop for doing any modification?
he can do the modification into the patent existing patents. So that's what our pharmaceutical industry is based in India. So we do modifications into the existing and we go ahead with our own product. And so, but there is one condition to that modification, that modified product or modified invention should have some additional advantage over the existing product. So whenever you have invented some A plus B combination, and if Dr. Atish is doing some A plus B plus C plus D combination, that combination should have some additional advantage over the existing product, and then only he can go ahead with getting the patent for that product.
And it should have scientific justification as well.
Yeah, it should have scientific justification.
Means just addition 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. Everyone knows it. So non-obviousness has to be there in whatever you are doing.
True.
Is it not the copying of that particular patent or violating that particular patent?
No. For that matter, you have to be very careful that you are not infringing or surpassing their claim. And if you do so, you will go bankrupt. You will have to sell yourself.
Yes, that's true. That was I was going through. That whenever you are speaking about copying of a patent, so you should firstly have very strong claims. So that patent drafting and that claims drafting, it's a very important thing from the patent perspective.
Otherwise, it will be like digging our own grave.
Yes. So if you are not having strong claims, then anyone can copy that invention, and you cannot do anything legally. So
rightly said.
Claim drafting is very important thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Chalo, thank you, Swapnil sir, for being part of LPC-52 and be associated with us. Thanks for sharing your knowledge and sparing your valuable time for all of us. From the bottom of my heart, on behalf of the LPC team, I once again thank you a lot, and keep inspiring, keep guiding, keep associating with LPC.
Definitely,
thanks a lot.
Thank
Over to you, Pankaj, for third speaker of the day.
Yeah. Atish, can you introduce, because I've forgotten to take all this. Yeah.
See, Raman Marke is the third speaker of the day. I'm really happy to say that Raman Marke and me, we both, along with Pankaj, we were batchmates of B.Pharm undergraduates, and Raman Marke was classmate or schoolmate of one of our panelists, Dr. Shashikant Bagade as well. Raman Marke has done his graduation from Government College of Pharmacy, Amravati, and then went on doing his MBA in marketing. Right now, he is working as a Vice President Marketing with Entor Pharmaceuticals. His interest revolves around pharma digital marketing, marketing and sales management, and the platform which is being created, which is known as Life Pharma Coalition. It is the brainchild of Mr. Raman Marke. He is very enthusiastic in ensuring that whatever knowledge we have gained through previous few years of working in pharma profession should be passed on to the young budding pharmacists which are going to join the field and going to be there into the market very soon. He has vast experience of working with various big pharmas. He has worked with in different departments like derma, ophthalmology, ENT, antibiotics, and anti-infectives and CNS. He has worked with Cipla, VHB, Nicholas Pharma, and Ranbaxy Pharma. He has worked 12 years with Cipla marketing team, and he has more than 18 years of experience in pharma marketing and sales. Presently, he is holding the post of Vice President, Pharma Marketing into Entor Pharmaceuticals. So we are really happy to have Raman sir onto LPC's platform, which is his own platform as such. So over to you, Raman.
Thank you so much, Atish. And I about to say, before you start introducing, like we have to make it very short and sweet, because it's already the time is already crossed. So I will also not try to extend more than the 10 minutes. Since we have kept in the third talk onto this subject. that is the pharmaceutical marketing and sales. Currently, we do have a big opportunity into both the areas. I thought that I will take it in the brief, but this time I will make it the very short and sweet of the 10 to 15 minutes. And because of the lack of the time, and then next time that we will take it in the brief, how the all other departments also, it's like they're getting the core in. So basic objective of keeping this today's topic, that is the pharmaceutical marketing and the sales, because most of the time the question is there in the mind of the student, when there will be the good scope which will be there into a marketing and sales or not. I will like to just give the answer through this 10 to 15 minutes of the talk. As we know that both the department, it's like the pillar arm of any pharmaceutical industry. But sales is the hardcore area where all the 90 to 95 company is based on the base of the sales, and then almost all the company without the marketing, they won't be able to do it anything. So this is the center point of any organization is the marketing. I thought that I will just take 2 points into a 5 minutes, so that the students as well as the new upcoming people, they will get informations about what exactly is there into this department, how many people they work it, how they work it, what are the core areas, and the outside of the industry, how do we look at it. Okay? So as I discussed the first points about the marketing has highest linking, coordination and controlling. These three words are very important, because we do have to on the day-to-day basis, being as the pharma marketing person, you will have to link with almost all the departments. You will have to do the coordinations on day-to-day basis, and you will have to control the various departments once you go from the middle to top management. And that what are like the various department, it comes around in the form of the linking, in the form of the coordination, in the form of the controlling of the various department, whether it's like the direct link of the sales team, production, R&D, QC, QA, finance, HR, supply chain, project management. So this, of course, indirect all the departments, you will have to do the coordination with them. You will have to link with them, and you will have to sometimes once you reach at the top place, you will have to control them in the form of either the day-to-day work, or maybe getting a work done from them. Basically, nowadays this word is the very tough to be used, but you will have to use it like you have to be a best manager as a best guide to all the departments, so that it's helping you to be generate and increase the profitability of the organization. And also the marketing has the direct sub departments nowadays. Almost top 10 domestic company, they will have this kind of the department with a 3 to 5 people team. And MNCs, almost all the MNCs, they will have this kind of the direct link department with the marketing, that is the strategy team, advertising, market research, PR, digital training, and learning and development team. Second, the team, that is the sales team. It has increased nowadays the role beyond the selling the product, as well as the control monitoring of their own sales team. They are going into more into the implementation of the effective communications, because nowadays the unique communications of your talk, whether it's like on the product or services, or maybe on your the organizations, it makes the really difference. So that best effective way utilization of the communications, that are also the getting immersed into it. Content of the product, what are the content is there for each product to be have their own identity, that also make the differentiation. Digital platform utilizations, as we know that during the corona situations, some companies, they were there since from last 10 to 15 years. They are there into digital marketing. They have the tab promotions. There all the inputs is going on to the e-form or the digital form, and nicely utilization, it's going to make the difference. As IPR planning the regional strategies of their own territories, areas, and the region, that also make the difference into the sales team. Other areas that also has opportunity nowadays into the pharma, it's a vice versa. Pharma people, they have opportunity into various others, the non-pharma industry, as well as the non-pharma industry people Also, they have their own role into the pharmaceutical industry. So this is how the talk it will be going ahead in a form of like the three points that I will just try to cover up it, so that it will make the short and sweet communication to all of you. As we all know that the global pharmaceutical markets and the Indian pharmaceutical markets, it has the mid of the discontinuation currently, but while the growth in the developing markets will slowly, it's going to down. Emerging markets will become the increasingly important in the coming decade. Now, once we look at the opportunity into a pharma, then only we will be realizing that the people they will have a scope into it or not. So, out of the all the areas which has been done from the last 10 decades, but now currently emerging market is the major focus area for the all the industry, whether it's like the Indian pharmaceutical market or it's like the global. It has a very nice the way opportunity that the each marketer they will have it. Now coming to the Indian pharmaceutical market, along with the marketer of the different the countries, which is been known for it, along with the India, the China, Brazil, and Russia, will separate the growth within this market itself only. So this market it's means that the emerging markets. So in the emerging markets, of course, there is a huge lot of opportunities that we do have it. Now, once we look at the characteristics of the Indian pharmaceutical market, then this IPM has characteristics that make it the very unique and the differentiations as compared to other industry by the three ways. First is the branded generics, number one, local player, number two, number three is the price. Once you look at the first point, that is the branded generic dominate that market. It's making up to 70 to 80% of the retail market. So this is the huge percentage of the opportunity that we will have it. Then the second point is the local player as has been enjoying the domain positions, which has been majorly driven by the formulation development. A lot of the people that are going into the manufacturing and developing their capabilities to manufacture it, and they have a revenue to invest it. So this is also the one more area that we as a pharmacist that we will have it. And the third point is the price level are going down. It has been mentioned into the second talk also. Like the Indian rank the 10th globally in terms of the value, but it's a rank the third at as per the volume, right? What does it mean? When it comes to pricing, we have a huge difference between the other country and us. So this characteristics presents that the own opportunity and not opportunity is also associated with the challenges. So opportunity and challenges it goes hand to hand. Now coming to the next decades of the one major the market where it's going to proliferate or presenting the various opportunity in a form of the new upcoming things which is there for us as like the pharma marketer. And to lead the player must not only the participate across the multiple opportunities area, but also we need to significantly modify the business models to enable the profit that need to be like the scale up every time. And pharmaceutical companies have taken a note new opportunity and begin to make a meaningful investment in those areas. On the balance, the multinational companies have the probably the cover more ground. The most multinational companies have set a bold aspirations for the Indian business, whether adaptations of the local models, including the dramatic scale force ramp up or branding generic launch or the major investment in the local organizations. This leading to the local player that have the investment in the market creation, development of different business models, and maintain the momentum of the new product launches. So this are like the essence of the marketing which going to rediscover it. Well, these all the steps is right directions. A lot more need to be done fully capture potential for the market, and not only at the beginning or the start, but at the top level also there is a requirement of the leadership that requirement has been gone up, and many more times it has been gone up. And not only this, but the enhance the competitive intensity, a rapid evaluations market have left the limited room for the complacencies. But for the instant, few years ago, the market creations in the two ways, right? That is the new doctor segments and the geographies, and the second is the under the under penetrations therapies, depending upon the deep penetrations into established market. So these are the 4 points that leave the this we call as the levers that remain the very important. But there are certain more the levers which has been emerging into as like the opportunity to be bring this kind of the talent into a pharma, like the set of the partners, collaborations, and the patient, the we call it the funnel in a marketing language. That funnel is also, it's like the increasing nowadays day by day for the different areas. Now, as I said, that the another suitable example realizing the importance of the large brands, particularly in the context of the during generic launch opportunity. Not only can be large brands that gives the profitability, but that the few years ago these large brands not kept the pace with a market and the lost the share. And this is a one point that is also the concern. But the winning the Indian pharmaceutical markets, the across functional focus should be there. Capability to require the most suitable improvement related to the commercial models. This three commercial model capability, that also the crucial points. Strongest organizations and the partner with the stakeholder, it also giving the opportunity. When I like the wanted to mention that the player will be rediscover the essence of the marketing, that the existing marketing capability, is it sufficient? So sometimes the answer is coming that no, it's not sufficient. While launching the marketing or the brand plannings, or the prescriber shift from the competitor strategy. So the launching, the marketing, brand planning, prescription shift, and the competitor strategies will remain the important three more crucial aspects that can be added into the four the levers of this. First is the building a big brand, as we know that. Also, we can see in this table, right? So new launch possibilities, the widely the brand buildings will be necessary to grow the profitability, and this big building a big brands will assumes much greater importance. So 20% of the late launch success, it's depend on the brand extensions, that also the challenging areas. But the brand of the portfolio, it's make the difference when you build the capability against the competitor. As we go ahead, that is the disease management and the customer focus is the third part. Very important parts into this. The second points wanted to mention the new models of the cell force coverage and the excellence will be emerging. It's two cell force capabilities will need to be collaborate and enable the sustainable high growth, right? So here this showing you this the table and the number is, we can understand the how many number of the doctor there are the coming up, and how many the field force that we do required it. This is what the opportunity every one that we will have into a pharmaceutical cells. So huge opportunity into pharmaceutical cells. I will just give the example out of the 20,000 employee, the 12,000 employee, those who works in the field, that is the 60% the manpower, it goes into the cells, right? So nowadays that the responsibility, that the area, that the educational, and that the requirement is on the all the four areas where they look at the end. So we need to look at this kind of the opportunity need to be grasped, whether it's like the pre-corona situations, during corona situation, after corona situations. This percentage of the like the taking the people into this area is increasing, and it will increase in the current year also. Like, so along with this, there will be the certain the growth factors which should be considered into a sales team, that is the innovation and differentiated coverage models that is also emerging into the cells. Then the second Salesforce excellence will the differentiate the winners into a current scenario and the situations. And here that there are certain the myths. It has been like the converted into the facts. That is the 90% of the cells happenings during the last 3 days. So these are the certain cells parameter. But the all the criteria, it has been going into a facts, and the changing is the dynamic very well way. Not only the pharmaceutical people, they will have opportunity, but non-pharma people also, they will have the great opportunity into the pharma, whether the people they are very good into the strategization or the advertising of the products from the MNCs, FMCGs, event managements, mobile, or the nowadays the telehealth people also, the technology, IT companies, people also, they have the widen window into coming into the pharma. Then the certain teachers, NGOs, and the bank insurance people also, they have a lot of opportunity coming into the pharma. So this is a long-term business help, and it is overcoming the lot of the things. So this is what I thought that I will share into a short and the sweet ways, because I don't think so I stretch more beyond this. So I can understand a lot of the live audience, they have to be there onto a live platform. So thank you so much for listening me. For marketing and the sales, the perspective, bringing into a pharma as an opportunity for the students as well as the new upcoming people. This is the large and the vast areas there. If you consider the percentage, the 60%, more than the 50% area is there into a sales. And out of the 2000, maybe the 200 to 300 teams in the HO base, which is lies into marketing. That much is the area. When it comes to a sub department of the marketing, whether it's like the strategy team, the PR team, or you are the market research team, every team, that the 10 teams they are around the marketing, they have a team of the 3 to 5 people, those who is expecting the B Farm with a management students, they can be welcome into a pharma with the best knowledge onto a marketing and sales, and you have a bright future. You can look at me as like the I started my career, and grown is very fast, and everyone those who will be starting up into pharmaceutical sales, you will have a big opportunity into not only the sales but the leading the all the other department too. Thank you so much. Over to you, Atish, just for the word of thanks.
Thank you, Raman.
I can understand we have crossed the full limit of our time. So
Yeah,
shortly,
yeah,
move on
I
to
do
the word of
understand.
thanks, and any important question is there that we will take it ahead, and either or we will go straightly on to the parting message or take home message from each speaker.
Okay. Thank you, Raman, for being so short and so sweet. As you have explained, no doubt there are a lot of opportunities which are lying to be grabbed into sales and marketing. But at the same time, pharma professionals needs to shoulder the huge responsibility, and that responsibility is of competition. Non-pharma professionals are also opted and taken into sales and marketing, and so pharma professionals needs to really pull up their socks and to be on their toes to ensure that, no doubt, because of their knowledge and background information related to pharma products, they can really create opportunity for themselves. But at the same time, the conversation and communication skill, that also play an important role. At the same time, perseverance of the candidate who is willing to join pharma sales and marketing play a vital role in ensuring he or she can escalate to the higher positions like you have done, and we are really proud of that.
Thank you so much.
Actually, Dr. Prashant Kharkar had another assignment. He has to deliver a talk into a short-term training program at another pharmacy college today, and so he has left the meeting. We have Dr. Swapnil Ghorpade and you who can give the parting message to our viewers. Over to you, Swapnil, sir.
Yes, sir. I'm very thankful for this LPC-52 and all the organizers, especially Raman sir, Atish sir, Pankaj sir, for giving me this opportunity to speak and to giving me this. It's enormous. It's just definitely a perfect, very nice platform for the knowledge sharing and gaining also. So it's not that only one way sharing. There are a lot of things to be learned, and a lot of experts are there into this field. And I'm very thankful for all of you for making me a part of this. Going ahead, I think this is the first year of this LPC, and congrats a lot for the completing its 1 year. And I know that this will go ahead for many more years to come, and a lot of such innovative and such new topics will be covered. So thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, dear Swapnil. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Over to you, Raman.
Yeah, so I will also go on to the last closing remark of the LPC 52. So thank you so much to the live audience from both the Facebook page as well as the YouTube channel, from both the channel. Keep following the LPC Facebook page as well as press onto the like to increase the like of the Facebook page. YouTube channel, kindly do subscribe and press onto bell. Last, thank you so much to all the speaker, moderators, and the panelists, both the Prashant sir, Swapnil, and moderator Atish. Well, the coordinated, single-handed, complete LPC 52 academic sessions. Thank you so much to you, and we will go off now.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.